Hello everyone, and welcome to this video on how to go from a project manager to a project leader and advance your career. In this lecture, we're going to go into the 6 points where you can accomplish this mission. So let's go ahead and get started here. So firstly, you have to shift your mindset. You need to focus on the vision and not just delivery. Don't focus on just finishing the project and getting it implemented. You have to switch your mindset from not just delivering the project and completing it, but focusing on the vision and how this project helps the overall strategy of the organization. You also need to think beyond the tasks. Ask, why are we doing this? You can be a taskmaster, but yourself as well as the team needs to understand why is this project and why is the team doing all of these tasks here? And again, that relates to strategy. And then finally, the project manager has to embrace ownership of the outcomes, not just the schedule. Too many times, the project manager focuses on tasks lists and schedules, but you have to own the outcomes also and put yourself in that mindset where you're accountable to own the outcomes. Next, you need to lead people and not just the projects. Here, you have to inspire and influence instead of only assigning. Again, get away from that taskmaster mindset and you have to influence. And that means ensuring that your teammates understand the goals of the project and the success factors involved and how they're contributing to the overall strategy and not them just working on tasks. You need to also build trust. Leadership is earned, it's not just given. And building this trust comes from showing good judgment and also leading the teams, especially when it comes to conflict management. Next, you need to listen actively. Your team's insights often hold the solutions. You cannot be the person that all of a sudden you're in charge and you make all the final decisions without anybody's input. No, you need the help of your team in order for the entire project to be successful. Because remember, project management is about leadership and teamwork to get the projects done. Moving on here, you also have to communicate with impact. And here you tailor your message for executives versus team members. It's going to depend who you're communicating with, and you have to customize your communication to that particular person. You need to translate complexity into clarity. You need to tell the story of progress. You cannot get bogged down too much into statistical performance when you're providing status reports like KPIs or items such as that nature. You can't just report the numbers. You need to put those numbers into context so that your senior leadership understands what exactly is going on with this project. You need to also show empathy and confidence, especially under pressure, because many times when people are under pressure, they tend to make rash decisions and they make very bad decisions in the heat of the moment. And that's not a good practice to get into. You need to get into the practice of taking a step back, analyzing the situation, and taking the best action. Then you want to drive business value, not just manage the projects. You want to link every deliverable to the organizational goals. Remember, every deliverable has to contribute value. It's not a task list. You're delivering value to the organization and executing their strategy. So you have to get that mindset there. Measure success in impact, not only in completion. So again, when certain milestones are completed, those milestones have to deliver value. It's not the fact that you can just check it off on a list and be satisfied with that. And then next here, get into the practice of speaking the language of value, return on investment, customer outcomes, efficiency. So you completed this project. What was the return on investment for this project? How much did you spend versus how much value did the project bring? Also, what is the customer satisfaction rate? The customers need to be satisfied. It's not just you completing the project. The customers need to be happy of the end product. And what is the efficiency? Are processes improved because of this project? That has to be also realized. Next, the emotional intelligence or EQ needs to be developed here. So here, you want to manage your emotions before managing others. If you're the type of person who's too impulsive or you make rash decisions based on your emotions, or you're demonstrating that you're not in control of your emotions, then how can you manage others and their emotions or be empathetic to their emotions? So that's where this point is driving at here. You want to recognize stress signals early on in the team, and you want to mitigate this, maybe meeting with the teammates involved involved and just having a conversation with them as to what's going on. You want to mitigate this early because this has a snowball effect where if you ignore this, it just gets bigger and bigger and the project becomes jeopardized. Also, you want to celebrate wins. It strengthens morale and motivation. This can come in retrospectives where after the review is done as to what can be done better with the project, celebrations can be done on that call. You can point out teammates who delivered better than expected value, or you can celebrate team wins based on what was accomplished during the project. Finally, you want to grow continuously and you want to seek feedback as a leader. It's not just, again, managing projects. You want to seek feedback from your leadership or from your peers as to how you're leading effectively. You also want to mentor others because that's going to build your credibility and it's going to show your leadership. And this is not just mentoring your project management teammates. This is also mentoring business partners or even senior leaders. For example, if they're not familiar with the agile methodology, you can instruct your business partner as to how that works. So in that way, they understand better what you're doing. And one thing that's critical here as you go out through your career, you must stay curious about technology, trends, and people. Because nowadays, technology especially is moving very quickly, especially in this age of artificial intelligence. Also, trends have to be kept on top of in regards to technologies. And there's trade magazines that'll help you with this possibly here. And also people. You need to stay curious about people, building relationships constantly with your teammates. So in that way, your leadership skills are polished. And finally, a big suggestion here is to maintain a leadership journal. After each day, just jot down how your day went and what you learned. And if there's any possibilities for you to improve as a leader.